Hi, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Call. This is the second part of the crossover show with Dylan Knows, the other show I do. Again, I'm just joking about that because tomorrow is the Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead crossover shows. And it's just funny because there's not a real crossover except the fact that Morgan is leaving Walking Dead and joining the cast of Fear the Walking Dead. But still, I thought it was kind of funny. I literally just finished about 3 minutes ago a Dylan Knows show, and now I'm going to do a episode of the Comic Call. I'm going to try to finish this slightly after midnight so I can go to bed because I'm tired. So here's this week's Comic Call. First up from DC, I've always liked the Dark Stars, and guess what? They're coming back. Robert Venditti, Ethan Van Sciver are doing in the new Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 42, new storyline called Dark Star Rising. And the Dark Stars were a comic that came out in, I guess, the 90s. And Donna Troy was a member of the Dark Stars, and now they're back, and it's kind of interesting to see how that's going to work out. So should be interesting to see that stuff. Out of the Metal miniseries, we have Immortal Men #1. This one has been delayed for a little bit, and it's kind of interesting because when the team was announced, Jim Lee was going to be doing the artwork, but I guess because he's one of those slow artists, he's not going to be able to do a regular series, so they hired Ryan Benjamin also. It's written by James Tynion IV, with art by Jim Lee and Ryan Benjamin, with inks by Scott Williams and Richard Friend. So it's coming out of the Metal movie miniseries, some new characters. You got some Jim Lee artwork in there, and Ryan Benjamin's artwork is fairly looks the same, pretty much. It should flow pretty easily. So we'll see what happens. So far, we've been hit or miss with some of these Metal books, so we'll see what happens. Detective Comics number 978. Continuing, there's going to be a Bat Civil War, continuing the lead up to that Civil War. The same James Tynion IV, who we've already discussed, writes this book with art by Javier Fernandez. It's called Batman Eternal. Batman Eternal was a weekly miniseries they did a couple of years back, and I guess this is going to sort of fill in the blanks of some of the other stuff because James Tynion was one of the writers of that. So there's been some dissension in the Bat family right now, and it's going to start possibly a civil war. So there we go. That's out this week as well. These are all books that came out this week. Flash number 44. This is the end of one story arc and is getting ready to prep you for the War of the Flashes, which is the big summer deal. It's written by Joshua Williamson with art by Carmine Di Giandomenico. So there's that. Finishes the Gorilla Grodd multiple speedster storyline, and it's going to lead to the War of the Flashes. So keep an eye on the Flash. It should be an interesting series. It's not going to start right away. It's not going to be out for a couple of months, I think. So you're going to get maybe one more story arc in before that. But still, it's prepping. It's laying the groundwork for it. Speaking of books that came out of Metal, Sideways number 3 is basically like the Peter Parker of the new Metal characters. It's written by Dan Didio with art by Kenneth Rockford. Justin Jordan also is co-writer on it, and so Kenneth Rockford does the artwork. It's about a guy about Peter Parker's age, who can walk between dimensions and stuff like that. But I think Sleeper is involved. I think that's Sleeper. So I think she's going to have a role in this as well. So let's see what happens with that. Supergirl number 20. I think this is Steve Orlando's last issue because he sort of wraps things up. And it's written by Jody Hauser also, and Steve Orlando with art by Robson Roca and inks by Daniel Henriquez. I just think this is his last story, so I don't know if it's been canceled or Jody's going to take over or what's going to happen. I'll find out. This has been one of the books that's been on the cusp for a little bit, so I might be dropping this next month. Depends on who the new creative team is. If it's Jody Hauser, I may give it an issue or two before I might drop it, but there's that. Red Hood and the Outlaws number 21, underrated series. I didn't give it much props, but then I read it and I was like, it was actually pretty good. Scott Lobdell, Dexter Soy, they've been pretty much like the team supreme on this for a while. Dexter rests a little bit here and there. They're doing an Artemis sort of and Robin sort of relationship thing, but we also have Bizarro is getting a lot of and it's a really interesting idea of a dark mirror trinity. So next up is Titans number 22. They're going to be canceling this book and redoing it eventually, but Abnett is writer, Paul Pelletier and Andrew Hennessy are the artists. This is like wrapping up, I guess, the Titans, end of the Titans, and leading into the No Justice storyline. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. That's it for DC. Marvel's got two really, really good books out this week that I'm really, really excited about. This first one I've been very interested in since she announced it. Gail Simone is writing Domino, and this is Domino number 1. Great Greg Land cover. Artwork is by David Baldion, and it's Gail Simone writing Domino, and she's talking about how much she loves the character. And Baldion is doing pretty good with the artwork. I'm not upset with it. It looks pretty cool. I think I'm going to stick around for this book for a while because, hey, it's Gail Simone. Domino is going to be getting a huge appearance in the new Deadpool movie. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of Deadpool, there he is. And Gail wrote Deadpool a while back. Also, one of my favorite X-Men books is finally back, and so we'll see how well this sticks up. But Exiles number 1. Exiles, when it first came out, was written by Judd Winnick and was fantastic. And it follows, it's basically like that movie Sliders, or the TV show Sliders, where they go to alternate dimensions and have to deal with stuff like that. And in this case, it's a group of mutants and other heroes from different dimensions as they go hopping dimensions, and they're taking on, you know, different bad guys, stuff like that, and try to save that dimension to move on to the next one. And sometimes they'll lose characters and new ones from those dimensions will come in. So it's written by Saladin Ahmed with art by Javier Rodriguez and Alvaro Lopez. So you're going to get different takes on the Marvel Universe, different versions of characters, and like this is an older version of Miss Marvel, the new Miss Marvel that's out now, a new version of Iron Man, and just could be interesting stuff. So you're going to have a whole lot of different characters, and they're going to be able to introduce new ones all the time. So I'm excited for. I think that's Valkyrie, Blink, Miss Marvel from a different dimension, Iron Man from a different dimension, and that's Kid Wolverine or cartoony Wolverine from another dimension. So we'll see what happens. My daughter loves Squirrel Girl. This is issue number 31 of Squirrel Girl. This is the final issue of artists. Where's the artist? Erica Henderson's run on the book. She's no longer going to be the artist. Ryan North will continue being the writer, so it should still keep the same sensibilities. The artwork might just look a little different. I haven't seen the new artist's work, but my daughter hopefully won't mind it too much. But this is Erica's last issue on Squirrel Girl, so there's a new creative team. The new artist is Derek Charm, so we'll see what she looks like next month. But my daughter likes Squirrel Girl. You can get caught up with Squirrel Girl. They had all the trades at the library. That's how my daughter got into it. She liked the idea of it. She read them and she loved it. Now it's her favorite character. So, and I just learned also that they're doing a new Warriors TV show, and Squirrel Girl is going to be in that. So she's can't wait to see that. That's it for regular Marvel. From the Star Wars world, we have Darth Vader number 14, written by Charles Soule with art by Giuseppe Camuncoli, inks by Daniele Orlandini. It's good artwork, and this is basically like Darth Vader Year One. This takes place literally right after Revenge of the Sith, after he's come out of his cocoon where he became Darth Vader, and it's his young, angry Anakin trying to find his way in the world, and before he becomes the nuanced bad guy that is Darth Vader, which they'll probably lead up to where to Star Wars, and then after Star Wars they did the other version of Darth Vader. The previous comic of Darth Vader takes place after that, which was a good one as well. Thrawn, who is a character, this is issue number 3, who appeared in extended universe books and became hugely popular. They brought him into the regular universe, and this is his trade, or his miniseries written by Jody Houser with art by Luke Ross. So this has only got maybe 2 more issues in it, I think. So if you like Thrawn and the character of Thrawn, you're going to learn about his kind of like the prequel to Thrawn and how things get set up. So there's that. That's it for Marvel. For the independents, Aftershock continues to do good books. They have a new one out called The Brothers Dracul #1 about Brothers Dracula, written by Cullen Bunn with art by Mirko Kolak. So it's going to look pretty, and Cullen Bunn's a great writer. So we're going to get a little take on the Brothers Dracul. It's going to be brutal and it's going to be rough, but hey, it looks good, it looks sweet, and we'll see how that goes. Next up, we have Barbarella where are you? Number are you? 6? Number 5, I'm sorry. Mike Carey, writer, Keenan Yar inks. Sexy space goddess who was played by Jane Fonda in the 1970s. Good girl type of artwork type of thing, and it's a science fiction story with hot chick. So hey, can't go wrong with that. Also, hot chick alert, legendary Red Sonja #3 with Red Sonja in the steampunk era. It's written by Mark Andreyko with art by Rodney Buscemi. So you get Red Sonja in a different time, as it were, alternate reality story with her. So Red Sonja is always an interesting character. So Dynamite has become a main comic company as well, along with Boom and Dark Horse, Image, IDW, Marvel, and DC, and Dark Horse. Speaking of Image, the next 3 books are from Image with some of the best creative teams out there. Gideon Falls #2, written by Jeff Lemire with art by Andrea Sorrentino. They worked together on the new version of Green Arrow, and then they took over another book. But this is their creative independent book that they own the rights to, creator-owned stuff. It looks pretty. This cover's really amazing. See if we can get back. You have to look at it close. It looks like a person's head. I guess you really can't see further back. You really can't see it. You got to get the book yourself just to see how the artwork is really nice. And Jeff Lemire is a pretty good writer, so gotta love that. Robert Kirkman, his first original book in a while. He's the writer of Walking Dead and Invincible. Has now written Oblivion Song. This is his newest creator-owned book with art by Lorenzo De Felici. Again, sort of like in a post-apocalyptic type of world, but a lot different than The Walking Dead. And it's Robert Kirkman, so obviously there's a potential popularity thing going on with that. Finally, Versus #3 by Ivan Brando and Esad Ribic. Again, gorgeous artwork. Esad Ribic is one of those really brilliantly nuanced artists. Very painterly, gorgeous stuff, science fiction style. Looks pretty. So that as well. And finally, we end this comic haul with an we start with an Aftershock book, we end with an Aftershock book, Animosity Evolution number 5, which is the other Animosity series, which takes place before the Animosity original comic. This one's also written by Marguerite Bennett with art by Eric Gapster. This one's a regular book also, where you see sort of the prequel. This is what happened immediately after the animals learned how to talk and how they took control of the world, and that leads to Animosity. So good stuff. I'm done. I've done 2 shows in a row. I'm beat. It's after midnight. Have a good Sunday. It's now officially April 15th. Get your taxes done on Monday, I would assume. You have to get them in, I guess, by Monday. You get a day off today since it's on Sunday and the post office is closed. So get those taxes done if you haven't done it already. Go to your local comic book store with your refund and buy some cool shit. That's just a portion of the books. There's a whole bunch of other stuff out there that I didn't get. Go to your comic book store. Check out what it is. I'm out of here.